Hey there, folks! Wrestling fans all over the world. Tony Visitone has returned. Okay, here I am with my Smackdown recap video. Overall, I thought the show was kind of a mixed bag. You know, it wasn't great, but it wasn't like really god awful like Raw was. I know that's kind of not saying very much, but anyway. So like I usually do, let's just get right into the recap. Show begins with Del Rio coming out, and then he has the guys in production truck re-show what happened on Raw when he locked the cross arm breaker on Sheamus, as Sheamus hung from the edge of the stage. Okay, and then we go back to Del Rio in the ring, and he tells Sheamus not to mess with him because if he thinks what happened on Raw was bad, at No Way Out, he will break Sheamus' arm. And then he says that he'll take the world title at No Way Out. Then Sheamus' music hits, and out comes, not Sheamus, but Ricardo Rodriguez dressed up as Sheamus. And then Del Rio admits, oh, this isn't Sheamus, blah, blah, blah. And he said, anyone can be Sheamus, anyone can punch their chest like a caveman. And then Del Rio goes, anyone can spike their hair and look like a stupid kid. Anyone can act like a hooligan. And he says that there's only one, Alberto Del Rio. And then he sarcastically asks Ricardo or Fake Sheamus if he's going to hit him with the brogue kick. And then Ricardo goes to go for the brogue kick, and then of course he falls on his ass. That was ridiculous. Then Del Rio says, that's what will happen in No Way Out. Sheamus will fall on his arse. And then the real Sheamus comes out. His music hits again. He comes back out. He and Del Rio and Ricardo are going to do a double team for a bit. Then Sheamus tosses Ricardo out of the ring. And Sheamus calms Del Rio for a bit. Del Rio comes back in the ring, jumps on Sheamus. No, Ricardo comes back in the ring. I'm sorry, jumps on Sheamus' back, and then Sheamus just chucks him out of the ring one more time. Then Del Rio pounds on Sheamus, and then Sheamus makes a comeback. Del Rio rolls out of the ring, and Del Rio and Ricardo head up the ramp. That is the walking bop. Sheamus runs, goes after them and gives them the double clothesline from behind. And then Sheamus just pummels Del Rio on the stage. And then he was going to give him the, I don't know what he calls the finisher, but it's the Razor's Edge or Outsider's Edge, whatever you want to call it, from the stage. But then Ricardo grabs Sheamus' legs, and then Del Rio roundhouse kicks Sheamus, and then he just pummels him more. He just punches on him, and then the referees come out to break that up. And some of the referees, for some reason, they direct Ricardo and Del Rio back to the ring. Other refs check on Sheamus on the stage. Then Teddy Long comes out and he says, I didn't get this. For some reason, since Johnny Ace isn't there, Teddy Long's in charge of the show tonight. Or in charge of the show. Okay. So then Long says he wasn't going to have Sheamus and Del Rio turn the show into chaos right off the bat at the start of the show. So then he said he makes announces two matches for later on in the show. One for later in the show, one next. Sheamus versus Kane, and he tells Del Rio to stay in the ring because he's going to face this man. And Great Khali comes out. Not a great segment, but not a horrendous either. I didn't really care for Ricardo coming out first to Sheamus. I thought that was kind of like I didn't care for that. I thought that was just like kind of unintentional. It was like one of those not funny comical bits. But I don't know why the hell Teddy. It's like Teddy Long's in charge, but it's like he's kind of more like the spokesperson for Johnny Ace, as Michael Cole put it later on. Because Johnny Ace already set up everything for him to carry out or whatever. So then we get to Khali and Del Rio. It was alright, it was a typical, Khali match. Del Rio got the cross-arm breaker in and won. Khali tapped out. Del Rio just dominated most of the match. And then they recapped that Big Show video package where he was saying, oh yeah, 20 years or whatever, I've been the fat, I've been the big joke, a jackass, or what have you, and now he's 40 years old or whatever, now he can do whatever he wants. It's like, the guy's been a monster heel before, so, anyway. I know when I first saw it on Raw, I was okay with it, but it kind of doesn't make sense. That whole storyline just doesn't make sense. So then Teddy Long is backstage, on the phone with someone, so, telling him that Johnny Ace isn't there, so he's in charge. And then Brodus Clay and the two Funkettes come in. Long tells Brodus Clay that he's got some good news and some bad news. Bad news is that to keep Big Show away from Brodus or whatever, Brodus is no longer allowed on Raw. Good news is he's a permanent Smackdown brand guy. Like any of that matters. The brand extension hasn't meant anything in years. I mean, it's it's pretty much all but dead. I think it's real. Anyway, so then Brodus says, when he sees his opponent later on tonight, he'll see the Big Show and he'll eat him up. Not bad, it's like there really isn't too much to say about it. Like I said, the Brodus Funkasaurus character is what it is. Like I said, and I don't get why they had Teddy Long in charge. Didn't make sense. So then we get Brodus Clay, and his victim is Derek Bateman. And Brodus just pummeled the crap out of him the whole time. They had him come out and be more more aggressive, after the Big Show, after the Big Show beating he took. But then afterwards he does his shtick with the Funkettes, and he has a few kids come in the ring, and this gimmick sucks. I'm sorry, I don't go for it. Then we get to Sin Cara versus Drew McIntyre. Remember him? Sin Cara wins, of course, since Drew McIntyre hasn't won a match in God knows how long. It was a decent match, though. But anyway, Sin Cara won. And this happened, this didn't air, but everyone in the spoilers that, this was for the live crowd. Drew McIntyre gets the mic and cuts a promo, and he starts complaining about, about why he's not in the main events and why he's not getting a better push or what have you. And Triple H comes out and just pedigrees him. Great way to tell us that we already know that this guy doesn't matter, so, you don't have to remind us of that. And then we get the Ryback squash. So we get the two unknown guys, and then they do the whole mirror on the wall. Who's going to be the first guys to make Ryback fall? Give him his first pinfall. They will. Blah blah blah. Ryback comes out, gives him the marching double Samoan drop, and 1, 2, 3. That was it. Ryback squashed the end. So then we have some ring crew guys are setting up the peep show set in the ring, and then Cody Rhodes' music hits, and he comes out. He just tears the set apart. He throws the benches out in the ring. He takes some of the peep show flags off the turnbuckle out here. And Cody gets the mic and says that he doesn't answer to Christian. Christian should be answering to him. And then he says that Christian is the guy who stole the Intercontinental title, that the title he brought glory back to. He says Christian's the guy going through a midlife crisis, and the guy who decided to pander and cater to all the fans. And then Christian comes out and he says that he's the guy that beat Cody for the Intercontinental title at Overloaded. And then Christian tells him that if he wanted to be the host of, as he put it, this little shindig of the peep show, all he had to do was ask. Cody says, it's the only thing he's interested in asking is, who's Christian trying to trick, or who's he trying to fool, or whatever. Cody mentions that before Over the Limit, Christian didn't care about the fans. And Cody asked him why he sacrificed what little self-respect he had left, or whatever. And Christian says that he had a moment of clarity, and he missed some in-ring time because of a legit injury. And then he says that, the night before WrestleMania, he inducted his best friend Edge into the Hall of Fame. And then he says, when Edge was giving his speech, he mentions that, coming out for the peeps is more of is a privilege, and it's a privilege that can go away for an instant. So and he said he didn't want to be the guy, remembered as the guy who kept whining and bitching for just one more match. So he said he wanted to be he wanted to be the guy who, returns and wins championships, and he mentions that he wants to have a Hall of Fame career just like Edge did. So then Cody says that's a load of garbage, and Cody says he knows Hall of Famers. He's saying Christian being a Hall of Famer would be a joke or whatever, and Cody mentioned his dad is a Hall of Famer if you really pull it with the bathroom. And then so Cody says he's a future Hall of Famer, and one of the few guys that actually when he talks about the future, everyone knows he's being honest about it. And then he says that Christian is a guy who just took advantage of the situation and got lucky at Over the Limit when he beat And Cody says that in No Way Out, the Intercontinental title is coming home. But then Christian tells Cody to shut his mouth. And then he says that Cody was nice enough to start the feud show. But Christian says that he'll be nice enough to end it by I've been in the ring with him. So then Dolph Ziggler comes out and he says that it was nice of Cody Rhodes to start the peep show a little early, but he's here to wrap it up. And Dolph says he's going to show off and beat Christian right now. So then we get Christian versus Ziggler. Good match. Yeah, of course Christian won. Cody Rhodes was on commentary. But it was a decent match. Then like Cody Rhodes was off the headset and was just like applauding Christian sarcastically or whatever. Then they just stayed down, Christian held the Intercontinental title up or what have you. Then we get the Royal Rebound, where they re-show the John Cena and Michael Cole direct from this past Monday. I haven't seen that shit once was bad enough. I was like, why the hell are you showing it again? So then we go back to the actual show, and Josh Matthews and Booker T are giving Michael Cole a lot of crap for being barbecue sauce and all that shit. And then, then Michael Cole just ripped the headset off. Can I have your attention, please? And says that Monday night was one of the most traumatic experiences of his entire life, and it was probably one of the most traumatic for any diehard wrestling fan because that segment was so freaking awful. And he says that he knows that Josh, Booker, and the fans have been mature enough to move on, and blah blah blah. And then Cole admits, he's reached the bottom point of his career. And then Jim Ross's music hits, and Hornswoggle comes out dressed as Jim Ross. So Hornswoggle gets in the ring, impersonates doing the whole slapping out there and this and that. I think he's got a bottle of barbecue sauce there, and he tells him to play the clip again of Cena getting Cena barbecue sauce from Michael Cole, and they replay it in slow motion. Why are you doing this to the fans? None of us want to see this. Then Hornswoggle just continues impersonating JR, and then, thank God, Damien Sandow came to the ring. Hallelujah! No pun intended. Then Sandow says, he's here to help the fans, and he says that, far too long, miscreants like Hornswoggle have been, given all the attention and given the pushes in WWE, and that leads all the fans, or the lambs of the WWE Universe, to the slaughter of their own ineptitude. And he says that he cannot and will not allow this idiocy to continue and assimilate itself into our society. And then Sandow, he pretty much says that Hornswoggle will be taught a lesson this evening. And then he just kind of bends over to Hornswoggle, you're welcome. And then Hornswoggle just goes, like that. And then Sandow was going to let him have it. He was kind of facing off with him. But then Tyson Kidd came to the ring. Sandow chucked him over the top, but Tyson landed on the apron. And then he gave Sandow a springboard drop kick. Sandow rolled out of the ring. And Tyson said, motions for Sandow to get back in the ring. But Sandow walks up the ramp. Then Tyson turns his attention to Hornswoggle, and then Sandow runs back to the ring, hits Tyson from behind, and he pounds on Tyson for a bit and gives him the neck breaker, and then he pinned him. It wasn't an official match, but he just pinned him, he pinned the guy who's like this. So segment started out really horrible with the whole Hornswoggle with Jim Ross and re-showing that god awful crap from Monday night. Then when Damien Sandow came out, that kind of that was the highlight of the whole segment. And instead of doing this whole, instead of recapping that, having Hornswoggle come out as JR and recapping that crap from Monday, they should have just had a Tyson Kidd Damien Sandow match. That would have been way, that's 5 ways, better than what they gave us here. Then backstage, Matt Striker interviewing Kane. He mentions the Kane, since Kane beat the WWE champion CM Punk on Raw. He says that he'll be facing world champion Sheamus now. He says that he has a chance to beat both world champions in the same week. He asks Kane how he feels about that. Kane says he doesn't feel anything. He doesn't have any feelings or whatever. And he tells Striker to ask CM Punk how it felt after he was chokeslammed on Monday, and to ask Sheamus how it feels after he does the same to him tonight. And Kane says his only concern is winning the triple threat match at No Way Out and becoming WWE champion. And then Striker asks about, the look that AJ and Kane gave each other on Raw, what have you. And Kane doesn't say anything and just gives Striker this, he just intently looks at him, and then Striker just hits for the heels. So then as Kane's walking off the screen, we see AJ coming out, hiding from behind him. About to, crates or whatever on the wall, whatever. Decent promo. Not bad. So then we get, before our next match, we have Jimmy Uso in the ring. And then Teddy Long comes out on the stage and he says that Johnny Ace has personally asked him to introduce and support the following superstar. And then he takes a sheet of paper out and he just announces, accompanied by Oksana, blah, blah, blah. One of the most talented young athletes in WWE today, Antonio Cesaro, Claudio Castagnoli. So Cesaro and Oksana come out. I was just fucking stupid, It's like, this whole Teddy Long being Johnny Ace's bitch pretty much, and then doing this whole thing with, having to be subservient, having to introduce Cesaro and Oksana and all everything. It's just so stupid. So we get Jimmy Uso and Claudio, Antonio, Cesaro, Castagnoli, squash match. Cesaro pins him. That was it. Then afterwards, Teddy Long was at ringside. They made him, Cesaro and Oksana made him come to the ringside to watch the match. So then after Cesaro, after the match, Cesaro and Oksana motion for Teddy Long to come in the ring, and so Long gets in the ring, raises Cesaro's arm, and Cesaro and Oksana make out. And Teddy Long just drops Sandow's arm down, and then he just walks out and felt disgusted as the kissing makeout scene and the flaunting by Oksana continues. This was awful. Less said about it, the better. Main event time. We get to Kane and Sheamus. Not a bad match. I thought it was good. Sheamus won by DQ when Del Rio and Ricardo came out. Ricardo got in the ring. Not as a DQ, but Ricardo gets in the ring, and Sheamus just pummels him, and he kicks him out of the ring or what have you. And then Sheamus, he calls for Del Rio to come in the ring. And then Sheamus turns around, and then Kane just gives him the throat chop. Then he was going to chokeslam Sheamus, but then AJ comes out and gives Kane the goo-goo eyes. So then that distracts Kane, and then he turns around and Sheamus brogue kicks him. And then Del Rio backs up, the ramp as Sheamus is motioning for him, telling him to get in the ring. Bring it, fella. And then Ricardo gets back in the ring. Sheamus brogue kicks him. And then as Sheamus in the ring, Alberto is on the stage. And they just stare each other down, and that ended the show. Like I said, it was a mixed bag of a show. Like I said, not great, but not horrendous either. I mean, there was some horrendous stuff on here, but I didn't think it was as bad as Raw. Opening segment wasn't really that great. Having a Ricardo dress up as Sheamus, I thought was stupid. Sheamus Del Rio, the stuff along the stage was all right. Main event match, Kane Sheamus was alright. I thought that match was okay. DQ was kind of weak, but I couldn't get why they did that since they're both, Sheamus is world champion, Kane's challenging for the WWE championship. I couldn't get why they did that. What's doing with AJ? I don't know. I mean, now they have Ryan Kane. I don't know what she's gonna, what they're gonna do with her. I do think she plays the whack job very well. So that's like one of the other few good parts of WWE right now. And the Michael Cole bit, with Hornswoggle just as Jr. That sucked. Sandow coming out saved that. The back and forth with Tyson and Sandow was good too. Like I said, Damon Sandow, another one of the few good parts of WWE right now. Sakara and Drew McIntyre. That's what I call him since he was losing. Solid match. Jimmy Uso, Cesaro, squash. Not much to it. Other matches were okay too, nothing really memorable, so I thought the show was kind of mediocre at best. And that'll do it. That's the show. So hopefully, I'll be back on Tuesday with a Raw recap video. And until then, this is Tony Visit Tone, and I'll talk to you all hopefully on Tuesday. Take care, everybody.